Bandit here. Welcome to the Bandit Flight Simmer channel, and today we're back in the Diamond DA62 on our next leg of our flight around the world. We're in Delhi, India, and we're going to be doing a trip today to a very interesting airport. It's called Lukla. It's in Nepal, and it is famous for being very high up in the Himalayan mountains, and it is a staging point for the base camps for climbing Mt Everest. So that's the closest airport to the Mt Everest base camp, so you can fly in there via airplane, and then you have to take a helicopter from there to the actual base camp. So it's a very interesting airport, should be a lot of fun, and we're going to be doing that flight VFR today from Delhi. We're going to go up to Kathmandu and then VFR up into the Himalayan mountains up to Lukla. So we're back in the Diamond DA62. It's been a while since I've done a video, and it's been really busy in real life, and then had some sim issues with the sim update here. So finally I think I got things going, so we should be able to do this trip today. So without further ado, let's hop in the cockpit and talk about what we're going to be doing. Okay, before we get going here, I'm just going to talk about the real world weather. And I've been using real world weather for all the flights up until today, and the reason I'm not using it today is because there's a tempo forecast almost every day for Lukla showing thunderstorms, and every time I've loaded the sim, this is what the weather's like at Lukla, and there's no way I could do a visual approach up to here. Even though the real weather on the radar at Kathmandu only shows a few cells around the entire area, so you could realistically get up here VFR, but for some reason the real world weather is unable to simulate that. This is what it shows. So as a result, I'm just using scattered clouds for today's trip, and so we can actually do this trip visually. So unfortunately, we had to deviate from the real world weather scenario, but as soon as we get back out of Lukla on the next trip, we'll get back to using the real world weather. So I just want to let you know, and that's how we're going to do today's trip. Okay, so I got the power turned on here, and you'll notice things are a little bit different. We have different looking screens here, and what I'm using is the working title Garmin 1000 NXi mod that came out with the latest sim update, and it's available in the marketplace, and it's a free update. If you just go to the marketplace and click on the free section, you'll see this. It's there to be installed, and it is a beta, so it's not quite fully functioning. If you're going to use this too, and you've been using the working title G1000 mods, make sure you remove that mod from your community folder, or this won't work. So we'll go over a little bit about this system today on the flight. And we can start off. I'm just going to start up the engines real quick here so we don't drain our battery. So we'll start up the right engine first and the left. So those look good. Temperatures and pressures are coming up. And let's hop over to the new MFD here, and we'll look at putting in our flight plan. And it's a little bit different. So basically, I'm just going to use the controls on here instead of the Class Echo device, just so you can see how things work. So if I call up for a flight plan here, and you see it shows origin, and you think you would type the origin in right there, but actually you need to go down to the next window here. And then once you're there, you can't actually enter anything until you rotate the outer knob, and then this waypoint info screen comes up. And another nice thing about this is you can actually click right here with your mouse, and it activates the keyboard, so we can actually put in our VIDP, and you see Indira Gandhi Airport, and I can click enter, and I also have the option to put in the runway, and we're going to take off on runway 10. So if I rotate the knob, inner knob first, and then the outer knob to select the runway, and I can select the runway 10, and I just hit enter twice, and it shows the origin as VIDP runway 10. And then now I just use the outer knob, go down to my destination, and we'll input that. So I rotate select the outer knob, and I can click up here and put in VNLK, and there's Lukla, and enter. And you don't have to put a runway in, so I'm not going to enter in the runway here, so that shows our destination. Now to enter en route, I just use the inner knob, go down to the first en route line here, and we can put in our first waypoint. And I'm just using VORs to track along here, so I just rotate the outer knob, and our first one is going to be Sierra Sierra Bravo. And I hit enter, and we want the VOR in India. And there we go. And I could just go along and enter all the waypoints just subsequently down here, and that will complete our flight plan. So I'll do that offline here, and I'll just check back in with you when I have that complete. Okay, so we have our flight plan completely entered here. All those tracking distances look pretty good, and we can actually look on the map here and see our route. And it looks pretty good. There's Lukla right there, so we just track eastbound over Kathmandu, and then we'll head up to Lukla. So that looks good. So we got our flight plan entered, so now I think we can just finish up setting up the airplane here. So we're going to need our CDI track. I'll go to the autopilot, and I'll put in, say, 5,500 feet VFR altitude for eastbound. And the track is in there. This shows up our V speed, so we got our rotate speed and our best climb speeds up here, so those are good. And might as well turn on our pitot heat, get our flaps set for takeoff, throw our boost pumps on, get our taxi light on, and let's head out to the runway. So we'll put our landing light on, taxi light off, strobe light on. So boost pumps are on, flaps are takeoff, all our lights are good. We got 5,500 feet, our CDI is set ready to go. And I think we're all set. I'll just put on the runway heading, which is 104, so that we have that if we need it. And I think we're ready to take off. So slowly bring the power up. Nice long runway here. Temperatures and pressures are good. Airspeed's alive. There's our rotate. Got a positive rate. Gear is up. Speed's good. Flaps up. Trim it up for the climb here. So we got gears up, flaps are up. We'll get our boost pumps off. Turn our lane light off. Now you'll notice here on the power, we don't have the yellow indicating our caution range here. So that's because the new screen doesn't allow that, and the mod for the DA62 isn't compatible with this screen yet. So it does function fine, but the engine readings are not compatible with the DA62 mod. So we set our power manually at 94% for the climb, and might as well engage our autopilot. So we'll turn our autopilot on, go flight level change. I'll just keep 110, and we might as well engage our nav. So here we go. I think so we'll just do a quick post takeoff check again. Gear is up, flaps are up, boost pumps are off, landing lights off, temperatures, pressures, climb power is all set. So everything looks good. So let's take a look outside here. As we head out of Irragandi Airport here. Huge city. Goes all around. It's enormous. Great visuals right now. Performance is pretty good. I'm getting I'm in mostly ultra mode for everything, and I'm getting 45 50 frames per second here, so it's pretty good with all this detail. So we'll hop in the cockpit here, get the climb going, and we'll get leveled off, and yeah, then when we get leveled off, what I'll do is I'll go through some of the features on the new Garmin G1000 NXi. I'll see you in a little bit. Okay, so here we are. I climbed up to 7,500 feet. We were just kind of in and out of these little scattered clouds at 55, so this is keeping us just above it. So yeah, it looks pretty good. The visuals are looking okay. The performance is pretty good. I'm getting over 60 frames a second right now. So let's start off by talking about the G1000 NXi here. So you can see the new primary flight display here is nice and crisp and has better graphics appearance than the standard G1000. And so you still have all your radios up here. You still have your flight management system right here, and your comm up here. So your nav and comm. This is still the same. The timer. Still have your OAT down here. And so one of the things you notice when we took off, we had our V speeds here, like our rotate speed, and what it does is it automatically takes that information from whatever aircraft you're flying and puts them up here. So your best climb speed, your rotate speed, they're all displayed for you there automatically. So that's a nice feature. If we go down to the bottom here, I'll start off at the right. We have the alerts, and there's no alerts right now, so we have our nearest, and that is functioning. So this will bring up our nearest airports, and we can cycle through those. And I think, I'm not sure what happens if we hit enter. No, I think it just gives us the information. Maybe we can just select direct to. Yeah, so it'll give us direct to, and then we can probably activate that to go to that airport, but I don't want to go to there right now. Timer reference, we still have our timer. There's our V speeds, and they were automatically on. You can shut them off if you want. And you can still cursor around to set your barrel mins if you want to, so you can turn it off or on. And put that in there, so that's there if you want it. Shows up right here. So that's still pretty much the same. And I'll go back and turn that off. And so that's our timer and reference. For the transponder, we just have an ident button here if we need to ident, and if we go to transponder, we can change our codes here, so we can put in a different code. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and we can turn it on with this right here. So there we go, 1, 2, 3, 4 alt. We can also ident on there, put it back in standby. So that's all your transponder codes. CDI, I'll put it in heading mode here, just so we don't go off on a crazy direction here. And so you can still cycle through your VOR localizer, so there, and then you can change your course up here. So localizer 1, you can change your course as required. And so you can cycle through those. I'll go back to nav. And OBS I don't think is working right now. Well, maybe I think it'll allow you to select OBS mode in the GPS, so I don't think that's working right now. Options, you can select your bearing pointer here. So we're tracking to this Sierra Bravo, so let's see if we can tune that up and put that in our bearings. So if I go to look that up and see what what the frequency is. So Sierra Sierra Bravo. I'm just looking on my Navigraph chart here on my. So it's 112.4. So if I go to nav 112.4 and swap that over, and that's on nav 2 Sierra Sierra Bravo, and I can bring up bearing 2 to nav 2, and there we go. So that's there. So that works all like that. We can bring up our wind page. I like the option 3, so that shows our wind. And we can go back. So that's our PFD options. I'm not sure what this does. Pathways, terrain. Yeah, I think that shows that 3D pathway. I don't think it's active yet. You can put your terrain on or off. So we'll go back to terrain. Not sure what this does, and not sure if that's active yet either. So there's a lot of features to come in the future, so I guess we'll see what those are. And so that's pretty much there. We can change our altitude units here. We can go to inches or HPA. We be HPA here, so standard pressure. And we can also set standard barrel here, so that's something that wasn't there before, so you can just have that set there as well. So we're VFR right now, so I think I'll go back to the regular barrel, so we'll just go turn that off. And then we also have, so that's your PFD options. Traffic map is not available yet. And then we have map and HSI features. So you can change your detail here. That's not available yet. There's different layouts. So we can put an insert map, like the old insert map there if we want to. And we can range in and out with that. We can also choose to instead have an HSI map, and that puts this in center of your HSI, and you can range in and out like that. So I think I'm going to leave that on there. It's kind of neat. And traffic map, I don't. Oh yeah, it is functioning. So traffic map can have up here as well. So you have your choices of what you can display up here. So I think I will stick with the HSI map for now. And detail I don't think works. I don't think we can turn traffic on yet. I don't think the topo works. NexRad I don't think works. They got METAR and lightning displays here you can put on. None of these work yet. So these are all future things that are going to be coming with the NXi. So I think that's most the options for the PFD here. So that's pretty good. So next, just take a look around. Everything looks good. Track along. Good ground speed. A little bit of a tailwind. So next we'll take a look at the nav display and see what different options are on there. Okay, here we are on the navigation display, and it looks similar. It just has a nicer, clean look to it, though, like the flight display there. You still have your nav and your comm frequencies up here. You have your navigation info, your track info up here. And you have these selections down here. Now, really none of these really do much right now. So, select engine, you have these options, but they're not functioning. You have your map options, and you can see you'll have traffic. You can do an insert map, terrain, airways, NexRad, lightning, METAR, legend. They're not all functioning yet, so those are things that are going to be coming in the future. You have a detail levels you can set, but you can't do that right now. Charts look like they'll be available in the future, and checklists available in the future. So that's what we're looking at for the navigation display for future options coming with the updates. On the engine side of things, like I said, it's not compatible with the latest DA62 X mod, so you're not getting your yellow warning indications up here, and you do not have all the different engine displays like your fuel and everything here. So right now we're pretty full. Shows our ox tank fuel, so we'll do our transfer a little further down, but That's pretty much your standard instrument cluster. That's all you're going to see right now. Over here you have your range, so you can do your range options here, but I don't think the cursor options, it doesn't let you move around the map right now, but that's going to be functioning, they said, I think in the next update. So right now all you can do is your range. You can't move around the map with the cursor knob here. And then you have your standard array of buttons over here. So if you wanted to go direct to something, you can pick another waypoint. Now, one thing I've noticed, I played around a little bit yesterday with this, and if I select it direct to BWA, it's going to mess up my flight plan. So realistically, I don't think if you want to use this mod for IFR flying, I don't think I would right now. It's got a few bugs in it, and that's one of them. Selecting direct to a waypoint can mess up your flight plan substantially. So it does work, though. It does give me direct to a waypoint, but then it removes the rest of my flight plan. You have your flight plan. We went through that, so you can set those options up there. And you have your procedures button, so here you can select approaches. There's no approach for Lukla, so we won't be able to select anything. One thing, though, I notice is if you have a problem selecting an approach, so if I go enter and there's no approaches, but initially you won't be able to cycle through the approaches here with your cursor knob here, and all you need to do is just get out of the procedures page and then open it again, and it seems to work. So you have this menu button, doesn't really have any menu items to select yet, so can't use that right now. So there are some limitations to using this mod, and that's why I'm just using it today on a visual trip, just to kind of show you what features are going to be coming down the pipe. Now, one of the things I did try in this is I loaded an approach, and I did an RMP approach, which was a curved approach, and it does a really nice curved approach with this aircraft. And VNAV is a function that's available now too, so I was able to engage VNAV with the autopilot, and it was able to fly down to each step down altitude in the approach, which was really kind of cool. But there was a bug where it wouldn't intercept the glide path for the approach. So there are some really, really cool features. It looks really nice. I think it'll be a great option in the future when they've added some of those more features to it. But yeah, so I just thought I'd go over it a little bit today. Try it on today's flight. I think though I'll, for the most part, in the DA62, especially if I have to do IFR flying, I'm going to go back to the G1000 mod. And the standard G1000. So anyway, that's the NXi right now, and yeah, I think it's worth it. It's easy to load. You can install it from the marketplace page, and then if you want to remove it, you just go back to your profile, select it, and then you can just delete it and then put it back later on, and it's absolutely free. So definitely something worth trying out. Anyway, I'll check in with you a little further down the flight here, and probably about halfway we'll see how things are looking gas-wise, and the weather should be pretty much the same because this is just standard scattered cloud weather. So anyway, I'll see you a little bit further down the route here. Okay, we are just 60 miles back, or 58 miles back from Kathmandu, and start seeing the mountain range coming into view there. Climbed up to 9,500 feet because that is the altitude we need to be at to head up in the valley to Lukla there. And here's another thing I've noticed too. You'll see the pixelation sometimes occurs with this aircraft. I don't know if it's the mod or what it is, but yeah, I've had that occur since the sim update too. So anyway, we just finished our fuel transfer. You can see the advisory came up here and the alert, and so what I'll do is I'll just go down and shut off the aux pumps. Our fuel is back up to full tanks. The aux tanks are empty, and those displays have gone. So anyway, we'll keep cruising along here, and we'll pop outside and take a look at what it looks like over Kathmandu. I know my sister actually flew into Kathmandu one time, and then she took a flight up to Lukla, and then did the hike up to the base camp at Everest. So yeah, it's a very popular tourist trip. And she said it was pretty incredible, the flight up the valley to Lukla. So I'm sure we'll see some amazing scenery as we head up there. It's been one of the landing challenges in the simulator for a long time, so I'm sure a lot of you have landed there. Anyway, so I'll check in with you again as we fly over Kathmandu, and we'll see what the scenery looks like there, and then we'll visually head up the valley to Lukla. Okay, we're just coming up overhead Kathmandu, and the altitude has just kept us above the mountaintops here, and that's about the lowest safe altitude VFR. There's the city of Kathmandu, and we can hop outside here and have a look. We've got a nice big airport there, and yeah, it's right in this kind of opening with the high terrain all around. These hilltops are like 9,000 feet high, so I did look at some approaches into here. They're fairly challenging and steep approaches. So what we're going to do is we're going to continue to fly eastbound, and then we're going to pick up a valley to head up to Lukla from a little further down track here. Yeah, amazing scenery. Okay, so I'll see you when we get to the start of the valley run we're going to do up to Lukla. See you in a little bit. Okay, so we're cruising along here just south of the mountain range, and I am a little bit off the track now because I'm going into the visual segment. So this nav display really shows the terrain really well, and I'll show you the plan, what we're going to be doing here. So I'm gone off the track that's in the flight plan, and we're going to continue flying down this south of the range here, and then we're going to pick up this valley here and take it up to Lukla. And I looked on a topo map, and that was about the best route to go visually here. If I try to go straight up there, these mountains here are fairly high, so you'd have to really climb up high to get over them to get up into this valley. So this is the best way to go, and so I'm going to continue along here, and then I'll maintain this altitude 9,500 feet, and I'll maintain that up because that's the airport elevation here is 9,300 feet. So that's kind of about the altitude we need to be at anyway. So anyway, I'll continue along here visually, and what I'll do is I'll join you again when we're just coming up the valley here, and we'll do the final portion of the arrival into the airport. So we're continuing on this track here, and just have the few clouds around, so it shouldn't be an issue, and it should be a nice approach up to Lukla. So I'll see you when we get into the valley. Okay, so we're flying up the valley here, and you can see the valley we're following up through here, and you can see it on the map here. And yeah, it's huge mountains all the way up through here, and the best way to fly these valleys is to stay on one side. So you want to give yourself an escape because you really don't have a lot of options. So I'm going to stay on the right side of the valley, and then if I have any issues, I can do a 180 and turn and do return down the valley the other side, because there's very many places to go here, especially when you get further up and the valley starts to narrow. So we're going to be heading up in this direction here. Still got about 12 miles to go, so I'll check in with you once we get a little closer. Okay, so we're on our run up the valley here, and the airport should be coming up to the right there momentarily. We're up at 10,000 feet. I'm not going to climb any higher. I'm going to start slowing down. I'm going to get my landing light on. And I'll get my boost pumps on. And I can see the airport right there at our 1 o'clock. So I'm going to bring the power back. I'm going to start configuring early here. Now it's only a short runway. It's only 1,700 feet, but it's a lot of upslopes, so it no trouble getting slowed down. You can see the airport there. And speed's good. I'll get our first notch of flap out. Coming in fast here. Gonna get some more flap out now. Speed is good. Looks good. There's the runway. Start to flare. Touch down. And we'll let the speed bleed off as we go up the hill here. And get on the brakes. Wow, yeah, that was a challenging approach. And you can still hear the engine is revved up quite high because of the altitude, so that's that pixelation's not very good. I don't know what's causing that. And here we are. Set the parking brake. And there's the Buddha Lodge at Lukla. So, welcome to Lukla. That certainly happened really quick there in the last short strokes there. But we got it down, got it stopped. Really cool airport. And should be fun when we depart here. So, thanks for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed today's flight. Got a chance to see the new Garmin G1000 NXi system, and not necessarily going to be using that every flight, but as they add new features, I think I'll do some demos on that. And when we depart Lukla, we'll head back down south of the mountains here. Actually, if it's good weather, or if we're using the standard weather like we are today, might even just do a lap of Mt Everest on the way out of here. So I hope you enjoyed today's flight. Thanks for joining me. Remember, if you like this video, make sure you hit the thumbs up button. I'd really appreciate it. And if you'd like to join me for the rest of the series of flying around the world in the DA62, make sure you subscribe to the channel, and you'll be notified when we do the next flight. So thanks for joining me again today, and we'll see you next time. Bandit out.